Tonight, we are turning our attention to the U.S. border because in just a couple of days, actually Thursday to be exact, Title 42 restrictions are ending. It's a public health services law that has allowed the government to prevent migrants from crossing the southern border. And the Trump administration said it was to limit the spread of COVID-19. So since March of 2020, millions of migrants were sent home or returned to Mexico under that policy. But now that the pandemic emergency is coming to a close on Thursday, so do these limitations at the border. Now, as many as 10,000 migrants are expected to cross into America every day. We know that Sacramento, of course, has a huge population of immigrant and refugee communities. So our Becca Habegger has a deeper look on what this all means for our area. Right, Becca?
Yeah, Alex, first things first, just because Title 42 was ending doesn't mean all those migrants will be allowed into the U.S. Now, the Biden administration is replacing Title 42 with some policies they hope will deter people from trying to cross. And we'll get to that. But first, we want to talk with people with a personal connection to this topic. On the steps of the California Capitol Tuesday morning, the annual Immigrant Day of Action brought together advocates and those who have been through the process themselves.
I'm here to show that our lives do matter.
Jose Hernandez is a legal permanent resident whose parents brought him from Mexico to the U.S. when he was 3.
They're escaping poverty, violence, and oppression. So they wanted a better future for us to get a better education here in America.
He and others here are watching to see what will happen once Title 42 expires, when the U.S. will no longer be able to cite COVID protections as a reason for expelling migrants before they have an opportunity to apply for asylum.
There's already a lot of anxiety about, is this going to increase exponentially border crossings, right? And what is the administration going to do about it? From the advocacy side, our position on this is the right to asylum is a right. It is protected under international law.
In place of Title 42, the Biden administration is enacting other policies it hopes will deter people from coming to the border. For example, a new rule requires migrants at the southern border to first apply for asylum in a country they travel through on their way to the U.S. If they don't, the U.S. will deny them asylum here. Critics point out that severely limits who will be allowed in and favors Mexican migrants over other Latin American migrants, since Mexicans don't pass through another country to get to the U.S. border. Federal officials argue they had to do something, as they expected illegal border crossings to climb to as many as 13,000 per day if Title 42 ended with no extra rules in place. Also, the Biden administration is asking migrants to use the CBP One app, which allows migrants to make an appointment in a U.S. point of entry instead of presenting themselves at the border. But critics say the rollout has been clunky, and the few appointments get snapped up almost immediately. And we should note federal officials say this week they did just make recent improvements to that app and added more appointments. Now, I spoke on the phone today with a volunteer attorney and organizer with NorCal Resist. That's a local grassroots organization whose work includes supporting asylum seekers. She says her organization is expecting to see an uptick in people in the Sacramento region who need help with food and housing, as well as help with their asylum application. She added there's a lot of change and therefore a lot of confusion right now, too.
And Becca, it's also important to note that we're not just talking about migrants from Latin American countries, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. This organizer pointed out to me that with NorCal Resist, look, the Sacramento region, for example, it's home to a huge population of Slavic and Afghan refugees, among others. The ending of Title 42 and potential confusion it brings about what comes next affects anyone coming to the U.S. to seek asylum, no matter their country of origin. Alex?
All right, Becca, thank you so much. And we also want to know your thoughts on the issue. What do you think California can do to improve immigration policies? All you have to do is just scan that QR code on the side of your screen, or you already know, you can always text us at 916-321-3310.